fancy meeting you here. In fact, honored to have you spend just a few minutes of your day with me. Thank you very, very much for doing it. Welcome to the Full Spectrum Podcast. I'm Stephanie Stevens. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I've been working on something. I have been out of the recording pocket for weeks. I mean, maybe it's even been 3 weeks, maybe a month. And so my apologies for it taking so long for me to get an episode to you. I've been working on so many things, and one of the things I'm really proud of that I've worked on is something I want to offer to you. It is something for you as a parent or a grandparent or aunt or uncle or sister or brother or care provider for somebody with autism. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Oh man, I'm excited because you know what? It's not just a chat space, it's a movement. And with 1 in 31 kids being diagnosed these days, my friend, I do believe that we are ripe for a movement of powerful parents coming together and leveling up our lives, empowering our children, and changing the world. And I'm launching it, man. I am launching into it. I don't know if it's going to fly or not. It's okay if it doesn't. It's okay if one person shows up. It's okay if 4 people show up. It will make a difference. I am here to make a difference and impact the autism community to the best of my ability in any ways that I can, based on the experiences I've had, my life story with my son and my family, and all of the things that I've learned and done, certainly along the way. So here's the deal. If you are a high-achieving, purpose-driven parent raising a child with autism, and if you've ever felt like you're the only one juggling all of these things, I'm a single parent of 4, so I have felt very much alone in this journey. Perhaps you can identify, perhaps you're not a solo parent, you're a married parent that feels like a solo parent because you feel like you're the only one present as it relates to providing support and juggling the therapies and the meetings and those kinds of things for your child. If you are carrying the weight of that, you are juggling business meetings or running your own business or having a series of other types of responsibilities and also juggling your case management meetings or IEP meetings, then let me just say this, you're absolutely in the right place and you have found your people. We are each other's people. So this podcast has always been a bigger sort of a part of a bigger mission. And now it's coming under the umbrella of this new community that I've developed. It's called Spectrum Nation. And today I'm going to tell you why it exists, or what it's all about, and how you can be Spectrum Nation, how you can become Spectrum Nation. It's not about being a part of something. It's about creating something literally from the ground up, a movement. So I'm going to get to that in just a minute. I want to pour in to you today because if no one's told you this lately, you're probably doing a lot better than you think. You don't have to do it alone. Sometimes it feels like you're doing alone. And I just want to give you a virtual hug right now as you hear the sound of my voice grazing over your ears. I want you to know I am quite certain that you are doing better than you think you are. And we're going to talk about things like guilt and the traps of allowing the tyranny to become your urgent and all of the things that go into sort of meleeing what we need to do in any given day and losing ourselves in the process of all of this. So this is why the community exists, so that we can identify with each other and lift each other up. So let me back up for just a second. Years ago, I was a single parent of 4 kids. I'm still a single parent of 4 kids, but they were younger then and I was actually raising them. And one of them had a diagnosis of autism. And you've heard me talk about this before. I'm going to say it again. To say that I was exhausted would have been an understatement. I was experiencing adrenal fatigue. I was diagnosed with anxiety and panic disorder with coexisting depression. How's that for a perfect storm? I was confused. I was frustrated. I felt outside of myself. I felt like I wasn't me. And in fact, I remember being out of town once, doing a radio event for a radio station. My kids were with my mom. And I remember thinking to myself as I drove in that car, and this is, by the way, that's how I made money, doing radio events, live radio events. And my family, thank the good Lord, I had family nearby, would just sort of rotate helping out for those 3 days of the month. And I remember driving in that car and looking out the window and not being able to connect to what a beautiful day it was. I couldn't resonate with the fact that it was a nice day out or that I was in a very beautiful part of the country. I just kept thinking to myself, will I ever feel normal again? Will I ever feel like I'm not thinking about what it's like to be normal? Will I ever feel like myself? Will I feel like a person again, instead of somebody who is spinning in this soup of sort of high adrenaline cortisol, coping with very little sleep and lots of just stress response triggering inside of me and fueling me in my work constantly, which would create a high, work, produce, and then followed by a pretty significant crash. Like when I would be done with that 3-day event, I'd get on an airplane and that feeling would start to settle in. That sinking, hollow feeling would start to settle in because the adrenaline from the event, that live on-air event, was wearing off. And now I had to put my feet on the ground once the wheels hit the ground, and I had to be me, and I had to try to be present. And I was feeling so anxious and depleted. It was really a struggle for me to even feel and be present. I did it because we all function. That survival mechanism kicks in, but it's not optimal, and it definitely is not sustainable. So being in that state of confusion, I still knew I had to move the needle forward for my family and for my son. So I was still working very hard. I was constantly advocating. I was on boards, multiple boards, for children's therapies, for legislating for coverage for therapies. I mean, you name it, I was still doing it. It was burning the candle at all ends, but I felt very frantic and I felt very panicked that I needed to do something, and it needed to be productive for my baby while he was still a baby. Because remember, back then we were told that if you did not close that neuroplasticity gap, if you did not get in there and start teaching their brains how to learn by the age of 7 years old, your chances of your child really progressing or being verbal or losing their diagnosis one day, which was one of the empty promises that practitioners would make. If you didn't get in there and really work, you were going to lose that opportunity, and the window was going to be closed. And by the way, it was going to be your fault for not getting all of the therapies scheduled back to back. Oh, and getting them paid for as well. So that was a whole nother layer, a whole nother element of the journey that was very, very intense. So I was doing all of these things. I just don't know if I was doing any of them well. I don't know if I was doing any of them right. I mean, they were purposeful and functional, I suppose, but I was losing myself. I was losing. In fact, I think I had lost myself in the process. I had big dreams and goals for my own life. They were now sitting on the back shelf, and I didn't know what the rest of my life was going to look like. I wasn't necessarily willing to let go of my purpose or identity. I just didn't know how to keep it in the picture. I didn't know how to thrive in my calling on this planet and also be an extraordinary parent, the kind of parent my children needed. Does this sound at all familiar? So over time, with support and with tears and lots of late night crying out to Jesus, lots of late night Googling, I started to learn from some of the mistakes I had made. And I started to build some things that today I'm very, very proud of. And I have a thriving business that's very successful, that does support young adults with autism out and about in the community. I've got a couple of podcasts that are going well. I am coaching people in communication and relationship, and it's a way of living where I'm not constantly running on fumes anymore. Now, mind you, my children have become adults, but hear me now, hear me. I lived through all of the childhood. I lived through parenting babies and children and school-aged kids and high schoolers. And now they're all adults. I have 2 in college, but they're all adults. And so I guess the moral of the story is I lived to tell about it, and I didn't just survive it. I thrived. There, but for the grace of God. And I want to support others in doing the same thing. If there was somebody like me extending my hand out to me 20 years ago, I would have seen it as a lifeline. Somebody who had been through all of the different seasons of their child's life, who had been through the legal guardianship issues, the therapy issues, the educational issues, the no sleeping at night, the behaviors and the meltdowns and the frustration and then the joys and the victories and like wow, we're really celebrating some milestones here too. Even though other parents of neurotypical kids don't celebrate the same kinds of things we do, they're a really big deal to us. We don't take them for granted. And so I want to help people like you. If you're stuck and if you're feeling very alone in the process, we need to come together. So I have created something new. I've created Spectrum Nation. And this will be the place I wish I had back then. So Spectrum Nation is going to hold this podcast under its umbrella. The Full Spectrum podcast will be under the umbrella of Spectrum Nation. But this Spectrum Nation is a community for parents like you and like me, the powerhouses, the builders, the creators, the quiet warriors, the people who care, who really want more than just survival. We want to do things and we want it to be productive for our families. We want to build legacies that span beyond our lives. We want support. We want strategy. We want connection. We deserve and are worthy of all of those things. So I just want to leave you with 3 things that have really changed the game for me and countless parents that I have guided and coached. Number 1, thriving is not a luxury. It's not for the lucky. It is necessary that you do well. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you shouldn't have to try. When you prioritize your own well-being, your child benefits too. I'm not talking about being selfish and spending all of your time on you and letting somebody else care for them. That's not at all what I'm talking about. This is very strategic. And there are ways to do that. There are ways to be present and be the primary support and care provider while you're also building what it is on the inside of you that you are called to. You are called to be the care provider, the support system for an individual with special needs. You're called to that. And it's not your only calling. What else do you have on the inside of you that the rest of us need, that you're just not cultivating because you kind of lost your identity, put it on the back burner? Let's tap into that. Let's find that. Second, you can be both the CEO and the advocate. I am. I have been. You can. I did it as a single parent. It's not ideal, but it's about how efficiently and effectively you use your voice. It's not about time expenditure as it is wise resourcing of your energy. You don't have to choose between your calling and your child's care. You're allowed to dream big and raise extraordinary kids, and you don't have to give up your calling or your ambition. You just need the right tools and you need a tribe. And that is what Spectrum Nation is here to provide. And third, you're not alone. Hear me. You may be all by yourself and alone in the car listening to this right now, or in bed at night, or getting up early in the morning trying to get your first coffee in before the household wakes up. You're not alone. You and I, we live very similarly in that way. And so does the community. There's a whole community of parents. I am convinced there's a whole community of parents out there doing what you and I are doing every day. And when we link arms, we're not just surviving the system, we're changing it. Like when I get up early in the morning before anybody else in the neighborhood is up, and I'm literally doing more. I feel like I do more oftentimes by 8 a.m. than most people do in the course of a day, simply because I have chosen to take on a series of responsibilities. I have chosen to take on certain components of certain things, and a business with 3 different locations, now almost 4, going on 4 locations, and my family, my children that I raised as a single parent. I choose to take those things on. So I choose to spend my time, the first hour of my day is spent making other people meals and feeding the animals and making sure my staff and my teams have everything they need for the day and they're organized and there's no fires I need to put out. Those are choices I've made. But I just have to believe I'm not the only one doing these kinds of things. I have to believe that there are people like me out there, and maybe you're one of them, that are doing these kinds of things too. You're a CEO or you're a business owner, or I don't know, you're a professor or an accountant or an actor or an athlete or somebody getting ready to launch one of those kinds of things and wondering if you're actually going to be able to pull it off. And you're stepping out and taking a risk and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the end game, but you know you have to do it. I've been there, and I want to guide you and support you through it. So if anything that I've said today resonates at all with you, I want to invite you to become a founding member of Spectrum Nation. We are a private, powerful school community built around 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars we're going to embrace because it encompasses the whole person. Our resources, and that means making sure you have the resources and the understanding you need to get services and supports for your child, because there's a whole spider web, a cog of entities involved on the federal level, the state level, the county level, and even locally in your own town that are all sort of spider webbed and linked together as it relates to funding and resources. But it's really hard. If you're not in it, it's really hard to decipher and figure out where to go for what. So resources is one pillar. Well-being is another. We've got to have a mental and emotional state of well-being, and we got to be able to process the stuff that comes up. We have to be able to process those things. We got to know how to do that. We have to be efficient and effective communicators in order to get the needs met for ourselves, for the things that we're generating and creating, and for our family. So you can't be unhinged. You've got to be in a mental and emotional state of stability in doing all of that. We're going to talk about relationships because a lot of relationships don't survive a diagnosis. In fact, 3/4 or more of all marriages do not survive a diagnosis of autism or related condition. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of strain. Usually one partner is doing more than the other. It causes resentment. So we're going to talk about how really we can cultivate and nurture the key relationships in our lives that really serve our family and our purpose. And then advocacy, because if you can't advocate for yourself and your child, you certainly may not have the tools to advocate for the community at large. And I do believe, again, with a diagnostic rate of 1 in 31, we've got to come together and be a powerful voice. Spectrum Nation must have a very visible public voice. We must advocate. We must have answers. We must move the needle. And all of this we're doing in the framework of a world that was not designed for our own children. So we have to create that world ourselves. When something doesn't exist, we create it. In Spectrum Nation, you're going to find weekly live calls. You're going to find coaching and Q&A. I will have demand training modules. In fact, I've got one up there already. It's a video course with, I think, 6 or 7 modules in it. It's for your family if you have this brand new diagnosis and you literally don't know what this even means. Like, what does this even mean? What am I supposed to do first? It's a series of just coaching and teaching on where you will go to find what, from services and supports to therapies, and then, of course, on through the life stages and stages of development, because my son is now an adult. And so I've been through all of those stages and will happily guide you through those stages as well. And then, of course, there's a chat thread with parents who get it, who will support and encourage each other every day. Me, I'm in your corner showing up with you. And the best part is that founding members are going to get a much better deal than everybody else coming in later in the game. I'm just looking for a handful. I'm looking for 10 founding members. That's it. 10 founding members, because I've got a special subscription rate just for the first 10. And the reason I'm asking for you, if any of this resonates with you, to be one of the first 10 is because I want someone like you to help shape the content and the modules and courses in the classroom that I create. What do you need to hear about? What do you want to hear about? What is it that you're trying to generate and start that you're feeling stuck in? That's what I want to know so that I can start creating those types of things for you and really provide support. SpectrumNation.org is where you are going to find me and where I'm going to find you. Please go there right now. Don't wait. You can put me on pause. I will not be offended. It's not at all rude. SpectrumNation.org takes you right to the About page, SpectrumNation.org. And if this doesn't fit for you, but you've got somebody buzzing around your head that you think this would be perfect for, please share it with them. Please send them this podcast or let them know to go to SpectrumNation.org. We are a movement. We are going to elevate our lives, empower our children, and change the world, because I really believe what we do is extraordinary parenting. It's different. It's different than others know and experience. It is extraordinary parenting, and it deserves extraordinary support. As always, so much love to you, and I can't wait to see you at SpectrumNation.org, and I can't wait to chat with you on the next episode.